Welcome to part 2 of the petrol smell saga. For those of you that are new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. This is my crazy V12 CL65. I've got a back catalogue of about 140 videos featuring this, a Maserati Gran Turismo, an Audi R8 and an SL55 AMG, which is the subject of this video. It'd be great to have you as a subscriber. Those of you who saw part 1 of the petrol smell saga will know that when I picked up my SL55 about a month ago, one of the first things I noticed was that there was a smell of petrol in the cabin. It's not outside on the petrol cap, it's actually around the back here near the rollover protection. I can smell fumes coming up from there, and when the car is sitting with the windows closed, that smell does build up, and that was something that obviously I needed to get fixed. So part 1 of this saga, which I'll link to up here, was taking the car to Hi-Tech and having it investigated by Gary. In this video we're going to see actually the result of some of that dismantling of the rear end of the car and the steps involved to do it. So let's take a look. So here we are heading back to Hi-Tech to check on the progress of the SL55. Gary has told me that it should all be stripped down now, so we should get a good view of what the rear end of the car looks like when it's all stripped down, and hopefully he will have been able to diagnose the problem, which would be great. And I'm fingers crossed it is something not too terrible. Let's hope it's not a new petrol tank required, and maybe it's just a hose that's come off. Please. Anyway, in the last video I had a lot of comments saying, oh, you're getting ripped off, oh, it shouldn't be that difficult. Well, I looked on the workshop information system, which I've got, at all the steps that are required to remove the fuel tank, and I'm going to show you those now. Take a look. So this is the workshop information system. I've already selected my car, the SL55. So in the keywords I'm going to put fuel tank, and then I'm going to select fuel tank, all information types, and start search. And then we can look at remove install fuel tank. This is a warning for safety information, which I will click even though I've not read it. So this is basically the first document in the series, and I'll show you these. I'll print these out in a minute, but it shows you all the steps that are required with diagrams to remove the fuel tank. This is the combined document. Here are the steps. You might think, okay, well, it's just one document. Well, it's not, because every single one of these is a link to another document. So, for example, number 3 here, remove separating roller blind in luggage compartment. If we click this, we get taken to another document which has the instructions for removing that roller blind. Not very extensive there, admittedly. Remove panel from spare wheel, that's easy. Remove side paneling in trunk, that gives us another document. Remove middle paneling in trunk, that gives us another document. Remove trim on rear center section, another link. And all of these are quite extensive. So for this particular model we have to remove the rear muffler. Click into that document, and again we have a full system of steps to undertake in order to just to remove the rear muffler. But I'm going to print out some of these documents so you can see the level of detail that is required to get to the fuel tank. So this is the first document, which shows all the steps required to remove the fuel tank. Every single one of those red and blue references is a link to another document. So if we open up one of those other documents, this one is for the trunk trim, you will see that that too has a bunch of steps and also has a bunch of references onto other documents. And this is just a second example for removing the muffler. Wow, yeah, okay, that's... So the tank is underneath this section here? Or goes in here?
Right in the back where the
right, okay, yeah, right.
You can see it from the inside of the car as well. So the inside of the car gets stripped.
Wow.
You can still have all the exhaust out, everything.
I know, you've got to take the exhaust off.
It's a whole day job just to strip it. No shafts.
It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy, the amount of work.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so the next step now, obviously we're waiting for the results for the fuel tank to come back. It's getting pressure tested to see exactly where it's actually leaking from.
And where do you think, where does it look like it's
Looks like
leaking?
it's coming from the seam where the tanks are actually welded together, the two halves. So we'll have those results back on Monday.
And they can just weld that back together,
I'm
can
not
they?
sure yet, we're going to find out. We'll see the next process, they'll tell us on Monday
Okay.
if they can weld it or not.
And when will I get it back?
Depending on the results on Monday.
Okay. Thanks, Gary. That's brilliant.
No worries.
So the news isn't exactly brilliant, but at least they've worked it out. Sounds like there's some leaks in the tank, so that'll have to be welded, and then it's just a question of putting it all back together again. If the tank problem is more serious and we need to order a new tank, then that's going to be more time and more money. But it's really interesting to see the amount of work that's required to actually get to the fuel tank. So as I showed you in those documents, it's an absolutely massive job, and yeah, I think it's really interesting to see. So I hope it's been interesting for you guys to see the amount of work that goes into actually just taking the petrol tank out of an R230 SL. So stay tuned for part 3 of this epic saga of the petrol smell in the cabin. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this second part in the petrol smell saga. Hopefully tomorrow we will find out what needs to be done to the petrol tank, and hopefully it won't be anything too terrible. Hopefully it can be welded and reinstalled and the whole rear end of the car reassembled very quickly, and we can get the car back. That's fingers crossed. So stay tuned for part 3. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to smash that like. It'd be great to have you as a subscriber. Hit that notification bell. You can follow me on Instagram at mguy.tv or Twitter at mguy_TV, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.